Hi, everyone. Welcome to your check in with Gwen, a podcast that operationalizes healing, teaching you how to do the mental work and build daily routines that help in the creation of your best life. Whether you're rebuilding after a rough season or chasing a dream, during our check ins, I will examine wellness, utilizing the 5 domains of health. I'm your host, Gwendolyn McLemore, and I'm extremely grateful that you're here. So, settle in, take a breath, and land as I guide us towards a path of healing gratitude. Hey, everybody. Oh, this episode will be a doozy. I have had a hard time recording these past couple weeks, and it's not for a lack of information. I think I've just been very overwhelmed. So, we're going to dive right into it. Emotionally, I am feeling angst and tension, excitement, nervousness, happiness, fear. I am all over the place, and it is showing up in many different ways. And this is all related to a good thing, right? And so we're going to talk about it at length today. But one of the main reasons that I feel so emotionally all over the place is that I am going on a trip very soon. And this trip is a life-changing trip. For fear of privacy, for wanting to protect my peace, I am not going to give details. But this is a pretty big trip, and it's pretty important. And I have been working towards it for years. And so now that it's here, it just kind of feels insane. And the past couple months, I've been just trying to build and organize and refine and grow at the same time. And it has been taxing emotionally, okay? This podcast, it's kind of nuts that I'm just still chugging it out. Yeah, we'll get into it. Mentally, I am actually feeling grounded. I have done so much work, so much executive function, coaching, and practicing. This past year, or two actually, but this past year in particular, my utilizing of tools, my calendar, my timeliness, my emotional control, my adaptability, my memory, I really, really practiced this year. And so, although I'm going on such a big change in life, I'm about to go through such a huge transition, I feel so prepared. Mentally, emotionally, that is different. And yeah, I feel like I took the steps regarding business, took the steps personally, I took the steps physically, socially, and so mentally I feel great, which is awesome. Socially, I am feeling a little worse for wear. I have been cramming. I recently went back to the East Coast where I'm from. I'm currently on the West Coast in Washington. And so I went back to the East Coast, and that was a fun, short, action-packed social trip, which was nice. And then I've been trying to connect with my people out here in Washington before I leave. And so I've just been very, very social for like the last 2.5 months, 3 months. And I'm looking to recharge soon. So I know I'm going to meet a bunch of new people on this trip, but I do know the beginning is going to be me trying to relax. We'll see. Um, spiritually, I feel so blessed, but so small. I know that's weird. And what I mean by that is that, like, right now, I feel like a drop in my life, and my life feels huge. And I don't know if that gave better perspective, but like spiritually, I feel like I'm about to take this journey um, where my beliefs might change, my values might change, my personality, my character might change. And so I'm kind of just feeling open and like the possibilities are endless. And so spiritually, I feel, I don't know, like a big breath of air. I feel excited. Physically, I'm a bit confused because I have been grinding and working hard, eating the food, doing the things, and so I feel strong. However, I woke up congested today and I leave in like 2 days. And so I don't even understand what that is about. And so physically I'm feeling a little like iffy right now. And so I'm going to double up on my vitamin C and try to get all healthy if I can the next 2 days. But that is how I'm feeling. Out of 10, I will give myself a solid 9.6. And it's crazy that it's so high, even though I feel scared shitless, okay? um, yeah, I just feel the tension. And so, hence this episode. This episode is entitled Bittersweet Balance. That is what we are doing, okay? That is what I am doing. I am balancing. I am giving as much as I can to as many cups as I can within myself in my life. And then I'm walking away and I'm sitting the cups down. Yeah. I wanted to make this episode for a multitude of reasons. One, as a timestamp. I am gonna love to reflect back, like pre this trip, post this trip. And so balancing the expectations, balancing my sense of responsibilities with my willingness to let shit fall to the wayside. I am someone who feels very guilty um often, right? That's one that I deal with often is guilt. Um we'll talk about the root of all sadness another day. But yeah. So guilt is my heavy emotion and I would love to consistently keep churning out every week. I have the content. However, the process of putting a show out each week is a lot. And with all the changes that I've been going through this last month or so, I have been inconsistent and I have felt very bad about it. So, dealing with that, balancing my guilt with the acknowledgement of how much I do on a day to day basis. My guilt with my generosity and my grace, There you go. My guilt and my grace. That's one thing that I'm balancing right now. Um, yeah, let's get into it. So, I mentioned a couple weeks back that I was going through a lot of personal changes. Um, and all of those things are still happening, but my life the past like 2 weeks have been just a big game of prioritization. What is the most important to me right now? What is the most time sensitive? And what takes the least amount of capacity? That is how I prioritized my day the last 2 weeks. And you would think when I have so much to do, I took that trip back home in the middle of those 2 weeks. I did a health fair at a tech company. It was just all these big things. And you would think this is when I would feel like I would break, but it was actually completely the opposite. I was able to balance what is feasible, what is important, what has a time crunch, what doesn't require much of me. And I was able to prioritize. And I feel like this has been one of the most successful flows of my life. And it's crazy because it's when so much big shit has been popping off. There are lawsuits. I deal with family members in jail. I deal with all types of crazy ass shit, okay? It is very ghetto. It is very ghetto. And instead of breaking, my ability to lock in like shocked myself. I don't know. I shocked myself this go round. And once again, it was my ability to balance, my ability to prioritize. I had days where I broke down. I had days where I did nothing. I had days where I worked 12 to 14 hours, 16 hours. I had days where I emotionally just let myself bleed it out. I had days where I was focused, laser focused. And so that ebb and that flow really served me. And I think it benefited my team around me. And so I will start off. That is one check in tip. If you are feeling like, even if you're not feeling overwhelmed, actually, this check in tip, number one, because there are going to be a few, and this episode is going to be kind of short because I'm late to a party. um, check in number one, prioritization. When you are making your list of your priorities, because lists are your best friend, right? And lists that exist outside of your mind, lists that you write down, game changer. Okay. And so the most powerful people you know, your favorite people, if they are anybody that is healthy and worth anything, they use lists. And so, one, write your list. Two, when you are writing these lists of priorities, that's how you rank them. Which is time sensitive, right? Which is most valuable to you? And then which tasks require the least amount of energy from you? Because then you make your list and you go time sensitive, least amount of energy, important to you, right? Let the chunk of your schedule for important to you, let that be where you show up and work your hardest. Um, Another thing regarding this concept of balance, I had to make a lot of decisions over these past couple weeks. And one of my favorite executive function tools, one of my favorite tools in life, pros versus cons, right? So much information changes on a daily basis. Life is changing so quickly all the time that a fact might not be a fact the next time you check, right? And I know that's weird to say, but that's the truth. In this age of misinformation and technology, in this age of shit happening so quickly, facts may change. You have to be able to discern and decide what is the benefit of this and what is the cost and the consequence of this. This is a reason to do something. This is a reason not to do something. This is a reason to spend my money at this store. This is a reason not to spend my money at this store. That's a big one. Pros and cons, right? That's check-in tip number 3. You need to be on your pros and cons tip right now. These lists are so important because everything is so fucking expensive, right? Everything is so expensive. Your energy, your time, your money, everything is expensive right now. So you need to really be clear. This is the benefit of making this choice. This is the fucking consequence of making this choice. That way you're moving in a way that's aligned with you. This one is going to sound crazy, but whatever. Use your moral compass. You also need to be balancing good versus evil. It is some evil shit being shown to the world right now. It is some evil tactics being put out into the world right now. So much violence, so much hunger, so much need, so much greed, so much evil. There is literally evil in every sense of the word that's being like force fed to us as human beings, right? It's being force fed to us in technology, it's being force fed to us in food, it's being force fed to us in our resources, in the air. Like, so you really, really, really need to be balancing how you spend your resources, right? And you need to be balancing good versus evil. You need to be a light for good, okay? That doesn't mean don't hit your licks. That doesn't mean that you have to be on the straight and narrow and follow all the rules. I am not someone who follows all the rules. I don't believe in that. I don't. Sorry. However, I believe in being good. And being good does not always mean being right, right? I am a good person and I be wrong a lot. Sue me. No, fuck that. Don't sue me, please. Hold up. Once again, I'd like to remind you this is just the yappings of a person who is alive right now. This is not professional advice. This is Gwen balancing her personal beliefs and her professional obligations. Clock it. Um, so, back to what I was saying. Good versus evil. If you have to make decisions that harm other people, other living things, if you have to make decisions that take and oppress and cause violence and cause strife, right? 9 times out of 10 is probably evil. There are ways to survive without fucking people over, without damaging the world. It's a very capitalistic world. They have us fighting over scraps. I get all of that, but you still get to be a good person. Do not let the powers that be corrupt your heart and your soul, because you're going to need that shit as the world gets even harder to live in, right? You're not going to find humanity with people doing the right thing. You're going to find humanity with people choosing to be good. So, balance it. The last check-in that I'm going to leave you with, right, is that you have to balance your effort as the world is in decay, right? Like, you have to balance your effort with your rest. And this is one that I am going to be practicing for the foreseeable future. This is what I'm going to be focusing on. The systems that most of us have believed in majority of our lives, right? Systems regarding government, systems regarding religion, systems regarding school, systems regarding Earth and the planet, like the things that we believed in are crumbling, right? The world is changing in such a big way, such a big way. And it's breaking my heart watching people overly committing to putting out all the effort they can and maintaining the old way of the world. And I get it. We want this shit to make sense so bad, right? I want it to make sense so bad. And I know why people will double down. But this isn't the time to push outdated messaging, right? I'm not going to tell you not to vote. I'm not going to tell you what to believe in. What I will say is that it makes a lot more sense for you to learn your neighborhood and your community than you learning what's going on in the news, right? You need to balance your effort a little better. It makes sense for you to learn what resources you have, what skills you have, versus what you will be willing to trade, right? Like effort versus rest. We still have to go to work. We still have to do shit, right? Technically, whatever. Do not kill yourself for an outdated system. Do not double down and say, I'm about to become the best employee of the month. I'm about to become the best American. Like, this is not the time for that. This is the time to try to become the best human being and to let the system do what it's going to do. And you hone in on what you can control and what you can recognize. And so you need to balance your effort and your rest right now. We need to be resting because shit's only going to get crazier. Okay, gas is $7 a gallon in Washington. I don't know where y'all live at. Who can pay that? Shit's gonna get wild, and so you need to be rested for when it gets wild. So balance your work with your joy, balance your love, balance your light, balance your grind, right? Like, and use the skills that I said. Use your pros and cons list. Use your prioritization. Yes. And so, wish me luck. The next episode I make will be very, very close to my birthday. Obviously, your girl is Gemini gang. So, send me the love, send me the light. If these episodes have been helpful for you, if you are a fan, if you are a supporter, if you want to be on camera and you want to talk to me and check in with me live, like, all of these things are options. I know I owe you guys all a website one day. Just, don't even clock me like that. One day. Until next time, I'm going to say please remember to check in with yourself, check in with a loved one, a stranger, and I will be here to check in with you next week. The week is going to be the parameters of a week might change over the next couple months, and y'all gonna have to settle in with me. It'll be well worth it. Until next time, with gratitude always, Gwen.